All right, everyone. Donald Trump is engaging in what I've called a political blitzkrieg. There are two links in the description. The first one talks about how it's basically like a political shock and awe. The second one is the news, of course. We'll be talking about this in the live stream tomorrow, I shouldn't wonder. Donald Trump has just paused all federal grants for review, and except for Social Security and Medicaid and a few other things. All of the other federal grants actually right now are on freeze, which I think is a very, very good idea. And by the way, liberals out there, you remember when you were worrying about him doing shit to Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare? Well, those are the only grants that weren't actually affected by this freeze. There's a reason for that. Liberals were told over and over again by Trump and by people who supported him, he's not going to do anything to Social Security. That would be a terrible political idea. It wouldn't work. And Social Security is, at least if it were properly functioning, it does need some review. It would be a pay-in and draw-out sort of system. So it's not really socialistic in form. It's sort of like a pensioning system. Not necessarily, I believe that people should be able to opt out of it. I believe that people should be able to make their own investments. That would be helpful for a lot of people in society, but overall, it's a little bit different from the normal welfare. It's not welfare or anything like that, but it's a political blitzkrieg. It's not even shock and awe. It's an outright blitz. What Trump is doing is overloading the system, and he should have done this after the 2016 election, and to an extent did, but not on the same order of magnitude as he's doing it now. What Trump is doing is throwing everyone into the melee, doing as much as possible in as short an order as possible. We're barely out of the first week of the Trump presidency as I'm speaking now, and by the end of the second week of his presidency, hell, I expect more transformative politics. He has been more effective in this short period of time than the prior administration in 4 fucking years. His first 4 days were more transformative than the last 4 years of the prior administration. And I'm not surprised at this. Trump has no more fucks to give. Here's what's happening. Donald Trump does want to succeed. He's one of the elites, and he's an elite, let's be honest here, who has realized that if you ingratiate yourself to the population and do well, that you get additional kudos. You can make money off of it, you can gain power off of it, but you also gain the support of the public. That gives you more of a mandate, allowing you to do more of the things that you want to do. The liberals are currently complaining about the price of eggs. That's interesting because for 4 years you said there was no problem. And oh my God, those tariffs, which are suspended at the moment, that were going to be on Colombia would raise the price of coffee. That would be really, really bad for Starbucks now, wouldn't it? All of the hipster liberals would complain. It's a political blitzkrieg. I've never seen anything like it. Normally, president gets into office, and they'll pass a few EOs and do a few things and, put forward suggestions. And then ultimately, they'll go golfing. I know Trump plays 1 round of golf the other day, and the liberals were complaining about that too. Yeah, just ignore the fact that the last president took like 3 days off a week, sometimes 4, and then randomly wandered off, and that the VP was a no-show. You can't tell me that Vance is a no-show, considering the I don't care Margaret moment that we talked about the other day. It's a blitzkrieg. What he's doing is trying to prevent his enemies from being able to block the things that he's doing generally by having too many things to block. It's like the difference between a targeted strike. Like, let's say you're in war, and you fire off a couple of cruise missiles. Maybe they get intercepted. But now let's say that instead you decide, well, I'm just going to fire off 10,000 rockets instead at the target. It's going to be really, really difficult to intercept all of them. You can intercept some of them some of the time, but you're not going to get them all. Some of the hits will land. And that's what I think he's doing, and he's weaponized his cabinet as well. Liberals aren't wrong, by the way, when they say, well, he's weaponizing federal agencies and stuff. Yes, he is. Of course. He's trying to undo the damage of the last 4 years. Can you really blame him for that? He disagrees with the direction of the country. Most Americans do. That's why he won the popular vote. And so he's trying to undo the damage. There's nothing wrong with that. It's no sin. They're also rambling about the Constitution. May I remind you, the last administration spied illegally on many members of the public, illegally censored people through third parties, through tech firms and so forth, attacked the right to free expression on multiple levels, was attacking the Second Amendment, certainly didn't believe in fair trials, overrode states' rights under the 10th, etc., etc., etc. You get where I'm going with this. Donald Trump, so far, is fixated predominantly on attempting to force through more tax relief, punt his tax plan down the road, which I agree with completely. It's very helpful to the economy. It's the only thing that saved us during lockdownerism, by the way. Can you imagine if Hillary had been in charge at the moment? That would have been bad. I think we would be in a Great Depression right now if that had happened. That, the border, diplomatic crises. He's already talked to Malay. He's already talked to the leadership of many other countries. It's funny. We'll be talking a bit about India later, actually. Looks like Trump and Modi are going to be, if not besties, at least bosom buddies yet again, which is really, really great because right now we're kind of at odds with BRICS. Trump is doing pretty much everything at the same time, and he's delegating properly too. Kristi Noem just participated in an ICE raid. just to be clear, the acting DHS secretary just went along for an ICE raid. This is something that you would never see from a so-called normative administration from yesteryear. But that's just the point. The people of the United States have voted for change. They've put the actual adults back in charge and said, well, maybe the short bus adults over there, they shouldn't be running the show. That's basically what happened. Part of it is the economy, part of it is the border, part of it is diplomacy. We've got to talk about the doomsday clock and 10 million other things. The news is coming in so quickly right now that I'm being overwhelmed. I make 4 goddamn videos a day, sometimes 5, plus my live streams 4 times a week, and go on Jeremy's live stream twice a week. I've gotten overwhelmed by the news cycle. It's literally like nothing that I've seen before. And for people that are younger, you got to understand, no, this is not normal politics, but it's not bad politics. The thing is that people think it's abnormal, it's different, and therefore it's wrong. I don't see any problem with it at all. I see it as a positive thing. Having a president that is capable of delegating authority efficiently, that has surrounded himself with people who, generally speaking, are the best and brightest and most qualified, and tackling 10,000 issues at the same time is something that we never... I mean, you'd think you'd see that from Sleepy Joe. You wouldn't see it from Sleepy Joe. You wouldn't see it from Obama. You wouldn't see it from Bush. You wouldn't see it from anyone really going back all the way to Eisenhower. If anything, Donald Trump is acting more like Dwight Eisenhower at this point than Ronald Reagan. And it's quite a sight to behold. There's a lot of transformative shit going on right now in very rapid fire form. Only a little more than a week out from Inauguration Day. Literally like we're on day 8 right now, and Donald Trump has already done more than the prior administration, in fact, probably the prior 3 administrations in their entire term, other than his first term. Hell, even you can lump that in. He's done more already in a week than he did in his whole first term, almost 2. We're going to see some chaos, but it'll be a positive chaos, I think. That's about all. Peace out.